Okay, call the meeting to order. Can I get everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Russ, we'll get a roll call, please.
Brandon Earl.
Here.
Andrea Crackles.
Here.
Sarah Lawrence.
Here.
Jason Newberry.
Here.
Jessica Seeleger.
Here.
Robert White.
Here.
Pat Zika.
Okay, next up, adoption of the agenda.
We need to,
We need to make a
do
motion.
we need to make a motion to add?
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah.
Sorry. We need to, if the board is interested, the esports team has made nationals, and so they're interested in speaking with the board this evening. So if you'd like to put that fairly early in the agenda, since we do have staff here representing them. My recommendation would probably be maybe 2.3 or 2.2.1 or something like that. After 2.2, however you want to do it. So
Okay.
that would be my recommendation.
After 2.2. After 2.2?
After or before?
Before.
After
Make it-
2.2, between
We'll talk about-
2.2 and 2.3 is my recommendation.
Do we want them to have to sit through all the bond issue? That's gonna be long.
If you
Or I
want-
guess
no,
we're
it's
the
fine.
ones that have to
Yeah,
suggest it, sorry.
I understand.
I make a motion that we add the esports team, as discussion item 2.2 and bump everything else on the agenda down. I'd second that.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say
Aye.
Now we can adopt the agenda.
Yes.
Yeah, so now we're looking for a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Got a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same? Recognition of patrons and staff.
Yes, we have two patrons here this evening that wanted to take their few minutes to speak to the board. First up is David Chambers. Oh, Janet, that's fine. Yep, Janet's going to speak first, so she's the other patron first.
Good evening, honored guests, board members, and Mr. Hatfield. When reading the new bond issue survey, I was disappointed to see that it's about deferred maintenance. This seems excessive considering that maintenance should be a regular part of the yearly budget. This makes me wonder what the capital outlay funds were spent on this year. And I'm also wondering what happened to the ARPA funds. The survey showed that you plan to use up to $25 million for infrastructure. But this will not address the elephant in the room of the less than stellar student achievement. Instead of requesting a bond and additional funds from our taxpayers, why not drill down on the budget that we already have? Consider reprioritizing the budget to increase money for instruction from 53% all the way towards 60%. We've already had a bond for years, and the roof still leaks. Down the road, graduates probably won't remember the bleachers that they had at the middle school track, or how the football field went uphill both ways. But if their school prioritized instruction, think how many lives it would impact. Now we seem to be prioritizing the wrong things. We can fix the roof when we need to. We have to address what we're here for, and that is to teach our students. In our district, we have fewer teachers per student than any other district in the county. 10th grade scores on yearly tests are not good. And in some cases, they're tragic. Our ACT scores are below the average in our state. In such a case, it is important to focus on improving instruction. Perhaps we can do this by hiring qualified teachers, providing merit rewards for those who excel at their craft, and supplying the necessary tools for teachers to enhance student learning. All of these things are important. I have to mention, we do have a 95% graduation rate, and that says a lot about our staff and our teachers. Our students are obviously happy to be there, and they want to stay and finish. It is not my intention to place blame on any individual for the decisions that have been made that brought us to this place. However, I believe it is appropriate to hold the governing body accountable for the school's outcomes. Facts are stubborn things, and they tell the tale of what needs to be done, and they provide information about our school and our board's priorities. And that is why prioritizing students' education should come before any request for additional funding. Fund and implement the highest priorities and the best policies, and good outcomes will follow. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
I need more chairs.
Tonight we do, for sure.
Good line out there. How you do? Happy Easter season. Celebrating the day around 2,000 years ago when our Lord Jesus Christ literally rose on the third day after his sacrificial death, proving that he's God and that we can pray to him today. Thank you, Board and Superintendent Hatfield, for granting us to speak here tonight. Also thanking my wife of great sweetness, Jan, and our important dignitaries and friends that are here. Ladies and gentlemen, please let the people of our district enjoy the expiration of the old bond issue this year. Please abandon your new bond issue campaign, and please don't let it appear on our ballot. I'm advocating tonight that there's a whole nother way to be. New bond issue could seem like a natural thing to do, maybe just to keep taxpayers conditioned to keep paying a certain rate so that it will be that much easier to impose more tax later on. Even bigger bond issues also may seem easy because people tend to reflexively vote yes, so that the campaigns against it have to work uphill. This is a shame, but our district can be more kind and thoughtful than this. My wife Jan and I are campaigning tonight to appeal to the sensibilities of this board, to inspire you to think outside this old box. Teaching students is our job, and it must be done better without such a flood of taxpayers' money. For a fictitious example, from among the poorest families, we could give a teacher 20 students and say a $200,000 yearly budget. I think this might only be half of what we've been spending on 20 students. And the teacher's half could still pay for massive and stellar results, including high-quality field trips. All these students could quickly get at least 2 years ahead, and each year the teacher might have $100,000 to keep her pay. And you could still wind up with tens of millions of dollars to give back to us. What if Trump visited Wellington and said on TV, for fewer than 500 students, this shrinking town built a multi-million-dollar high school campus that's 3 times too big and expensive, and they keep saddling taxpayers with so much more than they need to. Keep on making these same kinds of mistakes. They have 5 more schools, each with only about 140 students rattling around in them. How many millions of dollars have been wastefully spent, especially since COVID? We're going to have to investigate, cut funding, and likely sell off half their excessive real estate, and maybe fire some people. Many students have such low scores. That's Trump talking this time. If we just get ahead of this coming golden age of education, like the state of Louisiana just did, we might throw a parade day for you. Please consolidate everything and demand efficiency and effectiveness. Train every student so that even the poorest of them has a chance to prosper. It is possible to make our district much greater. From Kansas to the stars, right? Their whole lives, our students would rejoice over their useful and marketable skills launched from USD 353. If we could do just that, then I'm convinced that all our infrastructure needs and repairs will just naturally follow without having to keep seizing so much more of our money. If the new bond issue ideas are popular enough, then I think you could make more money by just inviting those people who are interested to a fundraiser. Jesus commands us to loose the bands, undo the heavy burdens, and let the oppressed go free. His ways are best. Let's not get left behind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Okay. First up, discussion item, education spotlight.
Yes, so we have good news tonight. The Lincoln Elementary is here, and we have a special guest, Debbie Potter. You want to come up, Debbie? Is our State Board of Education representative, representing us on the state board for this area, and so we welcome you. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, absolutely. And so we are going to have Lincoln, Mrs. Higgins, and crew come on up. You guys want to file in here? Everybody's being cautious. Here, Debbie. Yeah, you bet.
You're the spotlight.
I know.
Okay.
Get over here. All of you all. Over here. Chop, chop,
We didn't know where to go.
I know, I didn't want to stand in front of you.
It's idea to turn around and get you guys all on that camera for just a moment at least so you can screenshot it later.
Okay. Turn around, smile at the camera.
Wave.
All right, you want me to take the microphone?
Yep, that's all.
Okay, there's no microphone, so I shall stay right here. And here you go, Mrs. Hagan. I want to thank Lincoln Elementary, Mr. Hatfield. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board, for having me here. What a blessing. What a special thing to be here. And of all the campaigning I did, I have to say Winfield and Wellington were the two places I visited the most of any place. I think this town rocks. And I really like your town, and I am just very blessed that Mr. Hatfield sent me an email and asked me to be a part of this. And you are the start. You are the start of many assessments to come where those children continue to know that that was fun, rocking that assessment test. And let's do it again and again and again. And then that's the way your town rises to the top. And so thank you for the hard work you did, Mrs. Higgins. Thank you for the teachers. I will do that. She's so worried about you. But we know that the teachers and the principal, though, is the one who helps you guys do your job well. And thank you very much for letting me be a part of this. I didn't do all those days that you guys have slaved doing this, and I get to share in this special moment with you. They make it easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second, this is the second year in a row we've received this award, so I am really pumped. Would smell better if it didn't have the Cowboys on.
Shush.
But no, seriously, these guys are great. I have a great crew, and I said a little poem earlier today, but I couldn't pick a better crew to teach me all about elementary school. My background is in the secondary school, and so these guys have shown me the ropes, and I have a really awesome group to work with. So thank you for all you do for us at Lincoln.
Thank you all.
Yeah, we're doing that sound. Debbie, do you want to come up?
Please don't leave. Please don't leave. I am so thankful for this opportunity that you all are here. Lincoln is here. I would like to thank the staff. I'm sorry, I had to read this or I'm gonna cry.
You got this.
As a mom, a grandma, and an employee of USD 353, and a caretaker of a special needs granddaughter, I would like to tell you that the staff and the fellow classmates make me feel so safe when I drive away. I feel that she will be safe. Thank you for the teachers and the paras who teach the simplest of life's lessons. Kids are not always kind, but Ari's classmates have always treated her with kindness and lent her a helping hand. I hope as the transitions to the next level, I can still feel that she is safe and cared for as I drive away. The staff and the students at Lincoln have made learning for special needs, my granddaughter, a truly great experience. May the future be as bright, and my sincere thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Good work.
you.
Proud of you, very proud of you. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh. I wanted to thank Mr. Hatfield. He gave me additional time to address the board. So again, Mr. Chair and board, thank you for having me here. I grew up in a town that, when I graduated, had 5,000 population. So we're about just 2/3 the size of you. And I just wanted to let you know that they sent me to the Air Force Academy. So you guys have it in your power to do great things for your kids. Now my brother, he missed 95 days of school. He's an airline pilot, but he made it the hard way. That's to give voice to the children who fall through the cracks. 4 years ago, with the support of so many here in Wellington, I have to say this is probably the town I visit the most. 4 years ago, decided that I wanted to get into this culture battle to fight for our kids. And actually, as a real estate agent, it wasn't even originally to fight for the kids. I was a real estate agent. I thought it was for property rights. And I was praying about it, and I felt like God said, look out after the kids. And so State Board of Education is a tool I feel like God gave me to do that fight, but it is not what God asked me to do. He asked me to look out after the kids. And the only way I can think of to look out after the kids is to empower their parents. Because absolutely nobody loves any one of those kids in your school more than their parents do. Everybody will point out the exceptions, but those are exceptions. By and large, the parents love the kids. And the only voice that the parents have are you sitting around this table. You are their parents, you are the community's voice. And so I would just ask you to very, very much stay tuned. Call me. I did bring my cards. You can call me, you can talk to me, you can ask me about anything you've got on your heart or mind anytime. If the state's making something difficult for your schools, tell me so I can complain to them. But what I would just ask you to do is to be very, very, very tuned into these people. Because they're the ones that voted you in, and they are the ones that voted me in, and we are their eyes and we are their voice. And I so appreciate Mr. Hatfield, I so appreciate Dr. Watson, but if they could get $1 billion for the school, that's your job, right? Right. But our job is to listen to them. All right. So that's all I would encourage you is to just to know your people, support your schools, but know your constituents. And I had something I wanted to say more to you, but I'm a little bit scattered. But I'm a Bible-believing Christian, so I was thinking of Revelation 2:4. But I have this against you: you have abandoned the passionate love you had for me at the beginning. I think so many of our school boards have forgotten the power that they have in the Constitution. You guys are greater than the state. You know that, right? You are. We have general oversight. Like, you guys are empowered to control, to operate, and to maintain your schools. That is all on you. And I'm just encouraging you and asking you to take that responsibility so very seriously, listening to your constituents, what they want. And if you will write your names and phone numbers on this, I'm having a hard time getting a hold of a lot of my local school board members. And Mr. Hatfield, thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you so much for
appreciate
being
it.
here. You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. You could invite, to visit more of our buildings. Could we maybe
Yeah, absolutely.
have you by and take you on a
I
little
love
tour
driving
and,
down here.
and meet everything? We could get that on the books. I think that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Honestly, you guys are my focus. You are seriously more than the schools, because the schools are yours. You are my focus right here. This room of you people are my
Appreciate you
focus.
saying that.
Yeah.
We have to say
Yes, you
what goes
do.
on in our schools.
And I want to be focused on you.
Thank you.
I appreciate the parent advocacy too. That's a big thing for me as well.
Well, that's what we're all here for. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. Ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
2.2 is gonna be the esports.
Yes. So, Mr. Larkin, come up and talk up your team.
Love to.
All right.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that wonderfulness. I'm going to do the best I can. Look at my crew with me. All right, excellent. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. How are we doing today? First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Hatfield and for all of you for graciously accepting us as part of the agenda this evening. With talking with Mr. Ewing, he said, we should probably have a conversation with the board about going to nationals, and I agreed with him completely. Not just to say that we need to go, but more importantly to also showcase what they are doing in our buildings just every day. I'm proud to know these two gentlemen and the rest of their team. They have gone to nationals and made WHS very proud last year. They went to state last semester, and not only did they take the 4A championship, but they took the whole state championship. They got the big trophy. I love looking at it in the esports room. I'm really excited to announce that they are going to participate in the esports state league as well this coming next Friday? Next Friday, the 25th of April. And knocking all the wood that you have, I think we're going to take that one as well. I'm really excited to see how these boys do in their Overwatch team. We're also bringing a fresh Marvel Rivals team, which is a new game, kind of a similar format. We're really excited to see what that looks like on the big stage. The big news, though, that we are talking about today is our nationals trip. And we are very excited to showcase their talents. I think we've done probably the best this year so far. Would you guys say so? We're going to San Antonio, Texas? Yes. We're going to San Antonio on May 8th. No, 9th through 12th. 9th through 12th, sorry. It's all kind of fresh in my brain. 9th through 12th, and they're having a very big match tomorrow for their, remind me what it's called?
Playoffs.
The playoffs, yes. Those little things called the playoffs. Sorry, the coffee isn't kicking in yet.
I get that.
The playoffs, and I can already tell you they're going to do really good there as well. We're really excited to see them grow and see them finish out the year. All of them are seniors this year, and I think we're going to make WHS proud. I couldn't be more proud of these boys. Give them one quick round of applause for me. We would like to humbly and formally ask of the team here if we could possibly use some vans, van and transport and gas towards San Antonio. That's all we require. We've been working really diligently with Ryan Ewing and Jennifer Worley. They've been very helpful in all of our fundraising efforts. I have had some humble beginnings in fundraising efforts, and they've yielded very little. As they say, it takes a village, and you are the village that helps bring us together, so thank you very much for that. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much. But would you like to talk about what you're most excited for San Antonio?
Probably the most important thing to me is just following up on how we did last year with going to Orlando. I do believe that we have a more structured and better overall team this year than we did last year. So I feel more optimism towards our trip to San Antonio, and hopefully we do a little bit better this year in Nationals.
Nothing like that, but I think it'd be, as seniors, since we're all seniors, it's great to see maybe how this could help a program, how it could help it grow.
It's a great opportunity.
Well said. And, my goal, since I've helped out this team, has been to try and put WHS on the map. I couldn't have done it without these guys. They are basically the heart and soul of the team. When I tell you that they show up every day, that they are on Discord, they're doing the groundwork, they're working with Ryan, they're being very professional. They're making us look very good. And that's on the national stage. I don't get to say that very often. I don't know about y'all. But again, beyond proud of these folks, and I hope that you vote to secure our rite of passage into the great unknown that is San Antonio.
How many are you taking?
I'll be taking 5, as I understood it. I thought I was taking 6, but I think one of them said they couldn't make it.
Due to
5
tennis
of you.
regionals.
5 and me, so yeah, it would be 6 total. Thank you
How
for
many- I thought last year.
How many vans?
Just
Just
one.
one, okay. And then do we have an estimate on the gas or prices or anything?
If I remember correctly, this is a great guess. I think Ryan had sent an estimate out. I can get that estimate again, but I do believe,
It was estimated 300, I believe.
yeah.
Setting up for 1,500 miles.
Yeah. So if that's
Like
to and from, yes.
600 miles there
Yes.
and one way.
Oh, that's 600 miles one way?
Uh-huh.
You already have enough for hotels
1,200
and all that?
miles divided by.
We have been able, we've been gracious enough to cover, I say gracious, excuse me. We have been
300 miles.
blessed enough to be able to cover the hotels, the food, room and board.
That's awesome.
So we're just looking for passage to it, and we kind of agreed. Me and Ryan said like this is beyond our normal distance, and we know that there are risks associated with that with the vehicles. And I've worked pretty closely with these vehicles, and I've been to San Antonio in them. Not San Antonio, excuse me. I've been to. Where did I go in Texas? Forgive me. I've been to been to Dallas. Where was that? Austin. I went to Austin. In them for an art trip, and I can say that they'll make the trip just fine. But this is a trip we've made before. I just wanted to point that out that this is a trip we can make again if we wanted to in the future.
What do we typically do for?
You guys have paid for gas before, that's not setting a precedent for the board.
I make a motion that we allow them to take the van and pay for their gas for the trip.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. Can we get a second?
Second.
Got a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. You're going.
Anyone opposed?
Jason, you still there?
that went last year.
I think just two.
I said aye too.
It was me and Peggy.
Yeah, just seven ayes. 7 yeses. 7 of them. Okay, congratulations, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Good luck,
It means
guys.
much.
Good luck.
It means a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Have the best day. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
time. Yeah.
Let's have the best day, everybody.
Ready? Bond issue.
Yes, okay, so last month, Shelley presented to you the survey results of the survey that the board put out to the community on bond issue. And you also received paper books, some of you as you've trickled in, and then I gave the rest out tonight. And so those are all available for further discussion, and I'll bring Miranda out to continue the lead.
All right. Tonight, Brett Miller with DCS is here as well. Wanting to kind of just pick up where Shelley left off with survey questions. You guys have had some time to kind of think through, read through what was provided, and then kind of see what your thoughts are, what your questions are, direction that we need to go. There is a House bill that is out there that we'll talk some more on, but Clayton with Piper Sandler has their lawyers looking into what it all actually means, but it's looking like that the only time that you can vote is now limited to August at the primary, November at general, and then March or April as a special. And so our suggestion is just to kind of see what your guys' temperament is. If you feel ready to go ahead and vote for the August, we would need to have resolution and everything accepted at your May board meeting. If you feel that's too quick, we go to November vote. But what that allows is for you guys to then go ahead, for whatever reason, regroup and then vote again at the special if needed. So that's kind of what that House bill means. And then kind of, like I said, thinking through where you're at, where do we need to be, and what those timelines and milestones look like to kind of make sure we hit that points for you guys. And so want to kind of let it sit out there. If you guys have any questions to clarify based on the survey, want to go over any more information, just kind of get your feel and temperament.
A lot of information.
Yeah.
I was watching that bill also, and I was under the impression, and I know we hadn't agreed yet, but I think, I kind of felt like we were all looking, if we do this, doing it in November, because we didn't know if there would be a primary in August.
I did
So
check.
then it wouldn't cost us anything to.
Yes, and I
put on
did
there.
check with your
County clerk.
tax county, yes, and I don't think, so what they told us is I'm pretty sure that you don't have anything going on in November either, if I recall right.
Should have
Three of us are up.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, so then,
And then the
yes.
city has a couple too, so.
Okay, yeah, when she reported back, it's been a couple months, and I know she said that one of them, you didn't have anything, but I was thinking it was the November one, but I'm wrong, so. So yeah, November, the special and the primary would cost you $2 to $6 per head, depending on if it's walk-in or mail-in. So yes, it most definitely saves quite a bit of money to
Yeah,
vote
I don't-
November.
I'm not going to ask people about a bond issue and then make them pay for the election.
I think that I don't feel like we're ready. We still need to talk with the community, we need to talk with.
Well, that's what we're trying to decide, if we're going to have the issue so that we can start talking to the community.
I mean, are we gonna have a bond issue period, or?
So is that what we're
Thought
deciding?
that's
did you
what we're
say?
trying to discuss.
I don't
Discussing.
know.
Right?
It seems to me right now, we're just trying to decide when. Are we still trying, we're still
Well,
trying to
that's what I
decide if
said
we're gonna
then.
have one or not, right?
Right.
Yeah, we
I
haven't
didn't-
even decided
That's
that.
good, because I didn't think. we
That's
were
why
ready
I
to go.
said if we would do it.
So
I would suggest
timeline
November.
wise, we can plan on the concept of you guys wanting to do the public vote in November, which means by August 13th, we would need to kind of have our heads wrapped around what you're wanting to go forward with, if you're wanting to continue to move forward, and those kind of concepts. And so I can put together kind of some milestones for that, but wanted to see what information you need from us. Do you have any questions off the survey? Work sessions, what do you need from us to kind of help you guys get to that next step? Because it's going to come a lot quicker than you think, so.
I'm not sure that I need more information from you guys, I need more information from the community.
Okay.
That's how my
How are
feeling.
you gonna get that information?
Work sessions, have
How would that be different than
The survey.
the
Well,
survey?
what percent of the population responded? Like 10%?
You're fine. Look that up, real quick in hers.
I think we're missing, I know we can't hit everybody, but I mean, I think we need to go out in the community, go to the high school like we did on some of the other issues, have people come and discuss and give us feedback, because I think the public has a lot of great ideas and,
You think like a town meeting?
yeah, multiple
Well,
opportunities.
I'm not sure, but I think some people are here for that reason. Alone, I'm not sure, but I kind of just, and so if we did have like a town hall, then they would be able to speak and we'd get more information that way. Because the survey, I don't know,
About 10%.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a very small, and I know we're not gonna get 100, but I think the more opportunities we provide for feedback, I think it could help refine our decisions and priorities and things like that, and I think there's a lot of great information
I
that the
think-
public has.
And we're not asking tonight to say, yes, we're going to do it for sure. And we're not saying we need to come up with a package right now. We're just trying to come up with an idea of
How busy at work with it, do you need?
where we would like to hit it so we can come up with a timeline. Does that
We
make
don't need a
sense?
timeline
We're not
if
doing-
we're not gonna do one.
You still need to
So-
set it though.
Well, no, they're saying if we don't do a bond issue at all. I guess I'm to the point where we've put this much work into it. If we would do it in November, it's not going to cost us anything. So why not, you're wanting to get an idea of if it would be supported, what better way than have it on the ballot?
I thought I'm confused. I thought you just said that we need to discuss whether we're having it or not.
We are and that's my argument in the
Yeah.
discussion of if we should have it or not is if we are not gonna put up any more money, why not just put it on a ballot? That's my argument for having it. And I understand that we're still having the discussion to have it or not.
Okay.
That is my argument to have it. Is put it on the ballot and ask them. Yes, there's a lot we have to do with the community beforehand too. I'm not saying I'm saying the end goal that make sense?
It does.
So to help you guys kind of make that decision, you said you need more information from your community. So does that look like a community hall where we sit down and we have, presentations on the items that we're looking at doing and have more in-depth discussion for people that come to kind of get that feedback? There then we could have, maybe another digital way for them to provide feedback if they don't want to publicly do it. We can hold, like I said, we can hold a community hall type
That's a great
event where they can get up, ask their, questions, their opinions, and everything at that time, and then we'll have a good digital presentation to be able to present to them and all the figures and how that all works out, and some of the items that, you guys have outlined that you want to do. And then some potential items that have maybe came up, that to see what the support for those are like.
And we're not even sure, last I knew about the locker room. How much do we even have in capital outlay? We've been told we couldn't, we had to do a lump sum, we've been told we can do payments, and I haven't heard anything.
No, the
Yeah.
payments
We
payments
voted.
was part of the contract you
Okay.
guys approved.
Okay, so was that in February or?
I'd have to look at them.
Okay, so it's paid,
I think
because
it
I
was.
was gone for January, February.
Yes,
Yes.
there was a contract the board approved that moved it to payments.
Okay, and then is there can we get data on what money has been spent in capital outlay in the past number of years to see how we have been maintaining our buildings?
Of course.
Okay.
Do you have anything you want to add to?
Yeah, I think that, I think you guys need to have some work sessions. That's where this is all at. You got the survey back, and I think you need to get together and have some work sessions. We can help you with all that. Get some more input, talk about all the projects that are out there because the list is this long. And some of the stuff we already have budgeted, and then you just narrow it down. And I think you're right, that survey is the best that we could do. But I think that you have some work sessions and get people's input and settle in on a list of projects that you want to do. And then after that, then we'll identify the cost, and then you can decide whether you want to have a bond issue or not. But I caution you that time is the essence. You think that November is a long time away, but it's April, so you have at least 5 maybe board meetings, official board meetings between now and then, 6 maybe. But the whole point is it's gonna take a lot of work in the next couple months to get all this together, especially setting up the meetings, get people to come and get everybody's input. I just don't think you wanna wait till, there's a couple things that you gotta be cognizant of, is starting in July, the cap resets. And there's a ton of districts waiting to get their name on the list to be able to have a bond issue. And I think you want to get your name on that for sure, and then if you decide you don't want to do it, it doesn't cost anything, no harm, no foul.
What do you mean the cap resets?
The state of Kansas has a cap of $650 million per year that they allow school districts to have bond
Okay.
issues.
I want to make sure I understood.
It's first come, first serve. And,
It capped
Goddard,
out in December
yeah,
last year.
it tapped out. I can tell you that here in a couple of weeks, Goddard has one for $196 million. I know there's people up in Johnson County. I know Hutchinson. There's a lot of districts that got shut out, and they're waiting until July 1st. And then I think August is too quick. I don't think we do you a good service by trying to hit the August date because it's just too much. But I don't think you want to wait till April. What I've been told is when April rolls around, there's going to be so many bond issue elections. Not only does it affect the school districts, but it also affects municipalities, hospitals, county hospitals, anything that has a bond. There's only those 3 days that they can vote. So I really think the next step is to schedule a couple work sessions and sit around the table and figure out where all this is going to go. But I suggest you do that sooner than later because before you know it, it's going to be November.
So I can suggest on the back end of that, if you did a couple work sessions here in the next couple months, May and June, because you need to vote in August. So it'd be like either in June or July, but do a work session where we sit down and we decide what you want to present to the town hall, what do you want that to look like, and kind of get all that information in. We'll take it back, put that presentation together, get it all worked up, get it to you guys for approval, and then your second work session be the town hall, where we get that set up and get that going. I think that's gonna give you, the ability to, one, kind of discuss in the first work session, a lot of the information, kind of air out some of the things that, are highlights on your list or not highlights on your list. And then we can, like I said, put together that presentation, take a look at it, and then put it out there on a second work session. And then that still gives you a month or two to digest before you have to vote in August, whether you want to go forward with a bond or not.
So you're saying work session, meeting with the public, work session?
No, a work session to kind of, I'm gonna assume that the meeting with the public's gonna have to be a work session because, so one work session just being sitting down and going through what you want to present out there. We wanna make sure we have the videos that were made. We wanna make sure that we go over, this bucket of information versus this bucket of information. And then the second work session being that town hall.
So when do we get to discuss the findings and what people said about the town? We probably would need another.
We'll need another work session after that to discuss, so.
Hey, Brandon?
Yep.
Hey, so I guess that's my big question is, I'm not opposed to a work session and I definitely want community input. But how are we gonna get that input at a work session? Is it just who has the most number of people step up to the microphone? Is that what we're looking for, or what are we going to get from that work session? Is it just who's screaming the loudest? Is that the direction we're going to go?
I wouldn't think so. But
how?
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Bringing it open to the public, you're gonna, allow them to provide their feedback one way or the other, allow them to give their voice to it. But then also allow you to, us, DCS, to provide feedback. They'll have questions, they're gonna have disagreements, and we'll give, this is the, the pro to the con kind of thing. And so we'll have that open discussion ability, whereas, there's not the ability to have open discussions in this kind of format. So
I don't think it's the loudest voice. I think it's just the freedom. Everybody has the right to express their opinion.
Yep.
So
Well,
that's how I feel.
When we were talking about schools to begin with, Washington, all these numbers of students in classrooms, we had that meeting at the little theater, the high school gym, auditorium, and it was really well attended, and people were allowed to, say what they thought, and I think we got a pretty good feel from that. And of course, there's more input besides that, but I think it was well attended and.
It's the work session basically is going to be educating the public, whoever shows up. For an example, I can tell you that the roofs in the district really need some attention. And I don't know what your capital outlay is, but I'm guessing that if you would go back and re-roof all those buildings, you probably wouldn't have any money left.
How much is in our capital outlay? 2 point.
We're at 2 million here.
Oh, then-
I was gonna look at my audited. It was right around 2 million is where it was, yeah.
Roof totals are 5.1.
Does that include the new, is that taking out the new boiler?
Probably not.
Yeah.
So I think we got another
subtracted
cap
our
outlay payment this month, so.
150.
We've got about 5.1 in new roofs, just based on our preliminary, and that did not include the central office maintenance and SCA buildings. So just comparison on the, that concept, so.
What do we bring in cap outlay each year? Like, what is our new? Because I think that's where.
I would say, I have in 24, it was 1.3.
We brought in 1.3.
Yeah.
So, we couldn't even, in 1 year's payment that we get from the state, we couldn't do.
Yeah, but could we budget to do the roof over a period of years? Put it in our.
You'd have to use all of your cap
budget.
outlay for 5 years.
Not at one time, not at
I know,
one time.
but I'm saying, you have to use
If you only
all.
get $1 million and you need 5, it would take 5 years.
And that's not spending anything else.
That's if another boiler goes down, if we have HVAC issues.
Yeah, and you have two schools where I don't wanna speak for Kelly, but I know there's two schools that the HVAC is just horrendous. And, I know the high school needs some attention. And so these are some big ticket items that it's just hard for these school districts, as yourself, to pay it out of capital outlay. It's almost, well, it's impossible.
So that's why you're seeing so many school districts with bond issues right now, because
So,
that's how we do get this maintenance taken care
I think the goal of this workshops is to have you guys get together and say, okay, this is the stuff that we really need to address. And then this is stuff that's right behind it. And this is the stuff that we really would like to have. And then you prioritize that stuff. And then you come up with, okay, do we need to have a bond issue? Because maybe your capital outlay can or cannot pay for this stuff. And then if you want to have a bond issue, then the next step is okay, how much do you want to spend? So I think I think time is of an essence to start getting everybody together and getting some of this stuff hammered out.
And what they mentioned, that's only the roof.
And you guys, at the end of the day, you might say, we don't need a bond issue. That's great. So, but you don't know until you don't know what you don't know. So.
So to do 3 work sessions and then have the ability to vote on August 13th, you have May, June, July, and August.
Vote as a board.
As a board, yeah. So, your May 12th, June 9th, July, it's gonna be the 14th, just don't have it in here. Somewhere in between those dates would be a good time to have your work sessions. So you have additional ability to kind of have some feedback at your board meetings. To do that, in May, you'd need to have one probably right after your May board meeting, same in June and same in July, to be able to review the results, process the information, and be able to decide if you're going to vote and have your vote on August 13th of yes, moving forward, or no, moving forward.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think that we have any, I think to stop now would be wasted money, and we don't know unless we ask. So I think we need to go ahead and get some of these things on the books, just so we can continue to do our due diligence.
I agree.
So you're saying do the 3 steps and then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've already come this far,
I
let's
just wanna
keep
make,
working
yeah,
on
I
it.
just
Yeah,
wanna
no,
make
I
sure that's
wasn't
what you
saying,
meant.
I wasn't
No,
ever
I know.
saying
I
we're
wanna
gonna
make
do
sure.
this. I was,
Yeah. I
How
just
much
wanna make
money
sure I
have we
understood that
invested
right.
in this process so far?
What was your question, Sarah?
How much money have we invested in this process so far?
I think we paid Echelon around 10,000.
Ours is not to exceed 10, so it won't be, it's either.
We paid the 25 down. It's getting there.
So you guys won't pay any more than 10 to us, so.
We're trying to figure that out. Okay.
8 of the 10.
Okay. Can I just maybe clarify something? Because I was sitting here when we did it all and talked about the roof of the high school, and I was kind of lost on it myself. We did spend about $1 million probably 4 years ago. Do you remember when that was?
It's been.
On the roof at the high school? Well, the reason was drainage. It wasn't, when it was built, it wasn't done right. And so there was a huge problem with the drainage, and so, but we always talk about roof. And it was roof, but it wasn't a new roof like you'd think. It was fixing the problem that was
It was
made
masonry
when
issue.
the masonry and the drainage, it wasn't done correctly when the building was built. So I just wanna explain that, you know, it's not like we spent $1 million 3 or 4 years ago, and now we're gonna do a roof again. Now it's the roof. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I remember right on that, Pat, you're correct. It was the flashing that we took care of and the masonry.
Yeah.
A few years ago, but the roof membrane has been an issue from the get-go because, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, they used the wrong ballast rock when it was initially built, and that's kind of created some issues with the actual membrane, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if it was the wrong rock. I don't know that, but they did that. The rock has definitely created issues over time, for sure.
So the membrane still needs to be addressed, correct?
Yes.
I just wanted to just kind of clarify that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If I may, what would it cost to replace a membrane? Do we know?
The only estimate we ever got when we first were looking at was pre-COVID, and that was about 1.5 million. So nowadays, as much as things have gone, it might be double that. So.
But there is a process called competitive bidding.
Yeah, well, we're required by law to do that. So.
Okay.
So you wanna set the dates, you want to get them later?
Let's think about this.
So work session 1, to go over and decide, what the presentation to the town hall needs to look like. I say we do it after your board meeting on the 12th, so sometime, the week of the 19th or the week of the 26th. Preferably the 19th, that gives us plenty of time to be able to get everything ready for, the next workstation, the actual town hall. So does is any of the days on the week of the 19th work better?
You're talking May.
May 19th, yep.
I'm open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
I could do Thursday pretty easily.
What day of the week is that? I would.
Thursday is the 22nd.
I have family on the 19th just because of graduation. So.
I'm sorry?
I have family that'll be leaving on the 19th because of graduation from out of state, so that's why I didn't put Monday down.
That makes sense. So when do you guys have graduation here too?
The 18th.
Okay, so what about the first part, that's Memorial Day?
I mean, I'm good the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd.
Okay.
I'm good so far, good any day that week.
Who said the 22nd? Is that you, Andre?
Yeah.
22nd?
22nd?
Jason, you good with that?
I think so. I'm having trouble getting my calendar pulled up while I'm on the phone, but I think so.
Okay. 6 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay, so the week of June 16th would be the week after your board meeting.
I will be out of town that week, but I could probably make an evening, I could probably join by a phone if I need to.
Okay. Should do the following week too.
Or I can do the week before that.
We can also jump to the week of the 23rd. I'm not trying to force you guys into any of those, but the week of the 23rd, the following June 23rd as well. Because it's more just presentation, so, whatever works best for everyone to be as much present.
And this would be the community one?
Mm-hmm. That would be the town hall, the community town hall.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yes. I'm opening those days, so.
Yeah,
It's hardest.
oh,
No, you
What was
make a
the
very
week
good
prior
point.
to that?
Yeah.
Was that not a good week?
I'm sorry?
Was the
just
week prior?
is out of town.
Not the week
Okay,
of
well, I'm
16th.
gonna be out the next week.
You're out the 23rd?
Yeah.
Do it,
What about the
I
30th?
can call in.
What about the 30th?
We're also discussing when
Well, that's
will
fine.
harvest hit, because we
I'm
will,
trying to think. Usually I ask for
that's
everybody
gonna
else's
knock a
week
lot of
later, but I
people,
might
make a lot of people unable to join.
We could do the week of the ninth,
So,
just
yeah,
after
they're-
I'm gonna be right
we have
Monday.
the two of them
Yeah, you
trying
can
to
do
figure
the,
out.
I mean, your board meeting's the 9th, but you can do the week of the 9th, 16th, 23rd, or even that first week in July. Cause just with the fact that it's just the presentation, we'll take that information back and gather it. So we're not in a huge rush to be on exact dates, so. You said harvest is gonna be a lot of your constituents, so.
I think the 10th is.
Well, about 15th of June is when harvest.
Will the 10th work for you all? We're thinking the week prior.
Is it gonna be okay?
Well, board meeting on the 9th and 10th would be the next town hall meeting.
Should be good.
Okay.
Does that work, Adam?
June 10th?
June 10th,
And Jason, you can let us know when you get to check your schedule.
Can do.
we're doing it as early as June 10th. The review of the results could be the week before your board meeting, the week of July 7th. That gives you some more time to process, talk more at the board meeting, and then go out at that direction instead of putting it off.
Do we need to have?
That
So,
one festival
Wheat
I was
Fest.
trying to find.
Is it Wheat Fest?
I don't know.
Wheat Fest would probably be the 11th.
I should know this.
11th, which is the
Yeah.
13th, right?
Brandon, you
I
on
Wonder
that?
how you can
guess the
find out.
9th. I would guess it'd be the 9th through the 13th, right?
Yeah, I would think so. 9th through the 13th, yeah. So,
Is harvest still going heavy?
no,
No, it's
Okay.
Harvest will take about 2 weeks and it's gone.
It's July 8th through the 12th.
okay, yeah, I guess, so we're meeting on the
Start on
7th?
Tuesday.
Kinda.
So. Okay,
I can do Tuesday or Wednesday, but I just can't do Thursday or Friday.
So our board meeting is the second Monday of the month, so it's July 14th, right?
so we're talking, this is talking about having a work session to discuss that.
To review
prior to
the,
right?
yeah,
Just
the
making sure
results
I'm on the right.
workstation for your town hall.
You guys wanna do the 8th?
I could do the 8th.
Anyone else do the 8th? Well,
That's the super conference, that's the soup conference in
Being,
Oh.
but
Lawrence.
So should we not?
Oh, you mean,
Greenbush.
Greenbush?
Mhm.
I'm okay with, I mean, that's okay.
Okay.
For me. Thank you, Zach.
You're good?
Yeah, I'll be fine. July 8th?
Would you be able to have someone around for that? Okay.
Yeah, that does mess you up, doesn't it?
I have nothing to do.
And then that gives you the 14th to talk at your board meeting and the 11th of August to your vote at your normal board meeting. The deadline's the 13th.
We could
so
have another work session in there
Yep.
if we need.
time to be able to do that. Okay. Well, I will then, what do you need from me between this board meeting and your board meeting on May 12th? What kind of information might you want from us? Do you want Clayton to come back to talk to you guys about the financial side of things? Do you have any questions on that?
I don't, everyone else does. It's pretty straightforward.
Do we know the cost of what everything would be roughly?
Preliminary, I think they came up with.
Right,
You guys
we
should
have
have those
preliminary
books.
numbers.
And what we decide, what you guys decide on how you want to present, if we're missing some numbers, Pat will get those between then and the presentation. So we'll work with DCS to get those numbers filled.
And honestly, it all depends on also the material, it's kinda in what's going on tariff wise and all that. It could be, we just wash our hands for another year or
Right.
something until it kinda settles down, cause
That's
it's
what I'm
just,
wondering, why this year, or why,
Because this is when it falls off.
right, but that doesn't mean just because it falls off, you gotta start another one right away.
It's just financially, it's ideal to be able to maintain it. So the tax levy doesn't go down and then you're trying to pass a bond to raise the tax mill levy again. So it's just ideal for yes, voting is more apt to happen if you aren't raising the taxes. And so since you currently have 14 million is, you know, a no raise mill levy right now. It's gonna be an easier, you're gonna have more ability to get yes votes for something like that. And that amount of money when you're not raising the mill levy than if you waited, the mill levy fell, and then you try to get it raised back up.
I understand your reasoning now, but I still think, anyway.
We decided dates, what kind of times work?
Most of the time, 6 o'clock works best.
PM? Okay.
No,
Not AM.
I don't know why I said PM. That was automatic.
Yep.
All right. So between now and May 22nd, then just I ask that you just read through the survey, kind of compile questions you might have, information you might want from us, because the best use of that work session is to tell us all the things that you guys want and need, and for us to get that information back to you. So I appreciate you guys taking the time out today, and we'll
So
see
we
you
do
soon.
not need a May 12th. Anything? Okay, so Russ, we'll skip that on the agenda for next month.
I do have a question about the business
Yep.
question. Like how, okay, so we decided about 10% of the population responded to this. How many business owners in Wellington responded?
Well, it's not the population that you need to concentrate on. You need to concentrate on your registered voters.
Right, that's a good
I hope
thing,
we
yeah.
did on the survey, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I am wondering, she has the ability to kind of, merge out the, farmland owner, the landowners versus business owners versus residential. I will get you that answer. I'm not exactly sure where it's buried in this book, and I don't have that answer off the top of my head. But,
I know, I
I have
can find
age
it,
group
but I
information.
just thought if you had it on the top of your head, then that's okay.
I don't, off the top of my head, I don't,
Because I
unless
feel like when I
it's-
was interpreting the results, it felt like it was very high, like if it was, I know it doesn't directly equate to 10%, but it was a very high number.
So I found it. Within the city limits, you had 515 responses, which is about 75%. In the rural area was 140, which was 20% of your survey results, not the population that's out there. It does not have anything broken out for a business specifically though, but it would be the ones within city limits, so part of that 515. But I can get you that answer for ones that are specifically business respondents.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right.
Anyone else have any more questions for her? Thank you, Miranda, I appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Miranda.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Be safe getting home.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
All right, next up, cardiac response plan.
Yes, so this is a new legislative required cardiac response plan. I'm just getting it in your hands for review. Holly ended up not being able to be here this evening, and she originally hoped to be. So getting that, and I have also sent that off to KSB for review as well. And so if you want to bring back anything next month, we will have that set up for you. If you have anything you want, any information you need to give me tonight, I'd be happy to continue to work on that. But that's mainly wanted to get it into your hands so that can start to be digested.
So the version we have has green highlighted areas. Is that the new stuff or?
Yeah, I think those are things that she changed along the way because this is brand new.
But who changed?
Holly.
Oh, okay.
So
that's Holly's suggestions.
that's Holly's. Yes, that's.
But it
Holly's
hasn't been looked at by KASB.
It's in their hands right now. So.
Anyone else have any questions on that? Okay, next up, elementary enrollment trends.
Yes, so at the last planning session that we discussed this. There was a couple of different things discussed, but one of the main topic, how that ended up was the board requesting information. And so actually Miranda could have stayed for this, but because they were the ones that went and looked at it. But the question came up on money-wise, whether it's a bond issue situation or whether it's something you're using capital outlay dollars, what the type of renovations that would it take to change Washington into an early childhood center. And so I sent you those last week, and so you should have those in your hands. So that is available for discussion. And then also I gave you information on a company named RSP that if you want to take your data gathering, they are a company that provides data on projected enrollments, on boundaries, on things that are directly connected to some of the things that you're talking about. So instead of just getting, information from your district administration, you would actually be getting something from people who are experts in this. So that is also an option as far as if that's a company that you're interested in looking for. I think if you go to the community for something that is a difficult conversation such as this, and you have data from professionals versus things that we have all just thrown together as we've tried to tell this story, I think that might be a good way for the board to go about it. So I wanted to provide you that information so that you could have that in your hands. I'd be happy to, I'm sure it would cost nothing to have them just come down and talk to you guys. If you look at the proposal they gave us, there were many districts in the state of Kansas that they have worked with and provided different information for. Their services actually go beyond what we are talking about, but this information piece is something that they do. So that's just an idea I wanted to throw out there too, if you're interested in hearing what they have to say. I think it might be good.
On the project cost, I was confused on, is it all of these or is it one of these?
No, I think it's, I don't have the page up, but I think it's.
Because we have enrollment analysis at 11,500, boundary analysis at 10,000, and then we have this facilitation, we have public facilitation, and then we have option 1 is virtually 7,500, option 2 is hybrid 10,250, option 3 is all in person 15,750. So I'm wondering, do you add all of those up or
I think
how
they're
are
all
you-
three
yeah.
different.
Yeah.
So I think I think the boundary, if you're seeing the boundary, you're paying that, enrollment analysis, you're paying that, and this is public facilitation.
Kind of a la carte menu.
Okay.
So you can pick, we just wanna do that, it's gonna be 10,000.
And the public facilitation is if we want them to actually host the meetings for us.
Okay.
No.
So, but we haven't heard from them directly, that's just me talking. I was just wanted to show you the information that type of service is available for actually acquiring professional data.
Where did we get the information for changing Washington?
Miranda, our architect, and DCS went and checked out the building and gave us a general estimate on what they thought it might be.
So they had they knew the state requirements and all that for these
Yep,
things.
and I sent that to you in an email with all that stuff.
I'm looking at
Yep. So that gives you a ballpark, at least when you're talking in that conversation, which is what the board requested at that planning session.
Just for public record, it was 800 and some thousand to 1.1 million.
Correct.
And that's to turn Washington into
Early childhood center.
Yeah.
Yep. Bathrooms.
Daycare and preschool.
Bathrooms, they would have to do some different exits. So there's multiple exits required. Just all the code standards of the early childhood.
I was thinking,
center.
Kennedy's preschools don't have all those things. So I was curious how that's allowed.
I don't know. You'd have to ask Futures that. I'm not sure.
Because I know they don't have an exit to the outside. They have bathrooms this year because they moved, but for 3 or 4 years they haven't had a bathroom. They haven't had all of these things. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a good question. Like I said, I probably should have Miranda stay for that conversation.
Definitely more teachers.
Any other questions on the enrollment?
What I would like to know, and I don't even know if it's possible. That's a lot of money to spend on another, what do I wanna say?
Analysis.
Thank you, that's a good word, analysis.
Yep.
What is our ROI on that? Like if we spend $10,000 to find out how to rezone so that we can close one building, how much are we actually saving in doing that? You know, I mean, I'm sure we'll save something.
Yeah.
Even if we do turn it into early childhood, hopefully it would actually be more possibly profitable.
Yeah. It depends on what the board's.
In the end.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably something that's difficult to find, but if there's a way that we could figure out if it's actually worth paying this.
Yep.
Then I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out, if we just did attendance centers, then we wouldn't have to do
No,
this,
yeah,
right?
you wouldn't need it there at all. I think it would be worthy data if you were interested in doing boundary changes to your elementary schools that are currently sitting, because then you would have professional data to do that. And you would also have projected enrollment into the future and all that stuff together so that you could make that decision. If the board is interested in attendance centers, you don't need boundary data because it's set up all in the structure, so.
I think we visited that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
I was just throwing it out there.
I know, but I just, I'm just like,
Yeah, I think before I could think about spending that money, I need to know if it's worth.
They might be able to tell us that. Maybe if we get them in to talk to us.
They'll come down and talk for free, so if you wanna hear from them.
will they just do the boundary thing? And
That's that middle, that 10
That's
grand.
the 10,000 something.
Is a lot of money.
But what's it gonna cost us in salaries to pull our staff also? That's another thing that
To do what, say that again?
cost us in salaries for our staff to do it. You know, pulling them off of other things that they're doing to,
Our staff would do it?
who else, if we don't hire a company, who else would do it? Would tell
We would
us,
do it.
I don't know much about.
I mean, isn't that essentially the map that we have that has those infinite lines that we would just decide this road's this road's this? Isn't that the boundaries?
That's where we're at
Yeah.
now, yeah. The ones that has infinite lines is just an idea that we came
Right.
up with. That's just extending the
But that's
current
the topic
boundaries
we're
out.
talking about,
Yeah.
is how we're, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it's gonna shift then, especially if Washington closes and you have all those students.
Yeah.
That whole thing's gonna shift.
If we're gonna do it ourselves, we might have that to a work session.
Okay, anyone else, any questions on this?
Do you wanna hear from them to ask them questions? or
I
you
think
wanna-
that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
Even if it's Zoom, I mean, we can get them on the phone, but let's drive down here.
Got it.
Okay, next up, handbooks.
Yes, very similar to cardiac response plan. We started earlier this year. I already found some mistakes today, so we are currently going through these. I wanted to get them in the board's hands. I've also sent them to KSB, and so those are all being reviewed. So those are just handing them off to you so you can begin a review and we can begin discussion next month on those. But I did want to start that in April. Normally we wait until school's out, and there was a lot more interest in that topic last year, and so there was a request to butt that up, and so we're getting that out to you early. There are some other handbooks that are still being completed as far as like classified and some of the financial decisions we make in the summer, and so those are still in process. So really, I'm just handing them off to you for review, so you can take a stab at it. If
Should
there's
we do
anything,
what we did last year and like compile what we saw and send it to you for a master list?
you can, or you can, or even better, my recommendation would be wait to get the recommendations from KSB.
Okay.
So that you have that to look at as you're reviewing, because that's
okay.
coming from
Right.
the attorneys.
And have you reviewed them?
Yes, yeah, that's good. Like I said, I found some mistakes today, so.
Okay.
But I did want to get them
Okay.
to you this month. I just got them this week as well. I had a due date of Thursday for the administrators, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows I have a lot of questions about handbooks, but I haven't had a chance to get my list and
Yep,
stuff.
no problem. So, but I will get, once we get KSB's review, I'll get that to you, and I think that will help everybody.
I did a general question of why we decided to take off that part about the majority of the school day went for, I think last year we decided 11:20.
So that was a discussion that administration had because we had some different things, and actually Ofty was on that committee. It's in board policy that 2 hours was considered a significant part of the school day. Our schools have not necessarily been doing that same way. And so we were trying to mess with, and actually I need to bring that policy to you guys to have, if you end up wanting to change that in handbooks, we will also need to change the board policy on that.
I was gonna say, I think that's where it came from, is when I was reviewing policy, I was like, oh, we know a significant portion of the school day is 2 hours, therefore it should match the handbooks, and then that's why.
But I don't think that our systems are operating that way. So our committee got together and we tried to combine everything. One of the things we noticed today is we accidentally, because we were copying, we had used the high school handbook as an outline. And so when we copied and pasted it over, I noticed that it got copied and pasted part of it into, but we're trying to align those in all three handbooks so that everybody, because those should be the same across the district, with some little tweaks.
I wondered if, so on that same topic we're talking about, we said that it only applied to athletics, we put significant portion of the day for athletics, but we didn't honor that same policy under the prom section. Was that intentional, or was that something
the same, I think. I don't know what it was.
Under the what section?
Under the prom section.
That would be high school, so the prom.
I think that's what brought it up, was the prom thing last year.
I don't know, we'll have to look at that, I don't know if that got discussed.
I think that's what kind of brought it up, the half day, because you couldn't take, the day before prom, you couldn't get a 2 o'clock mail appointment because you were at school.
You shouldn't. So that's why it's in there. The prom came up with their own, and it was approved by the board that you have to be there the whole day, or you'd have.
You can't go to prom. Something like that.
Right, but that's part of the proms, the prom in its own, they came up with their own, like that was in there. We haven't changed that, that's been the policy in there for years.
Well, that was,
it was approved
from what I
here, but
recall,
that was,
it said that, that was one of the things that was marked as a change this year on this handbook. That was that, we were gonna say significant portion of the day for athletics, but we didn't use that same language under the prom section. So I was just wondering if that was overlooked or intentional.
We were trying to align so that it said significant portion of the day in all of the things.
Okay, so it wasn't intentional.
So yeah, we wanted to make sure that all of those pieces read the same way so that parents understood what a significant portion of the day was.
Okay.
Because in some places that didn't always match up.
Yeah, thank you for answering that.
Anyone else have any questions on handbooks? Next up, KSB strategic plan vision process.
Yes, so one of the district goals this year that the board put in place was for us to revamp the strategic plan and base that off of the new accreditation model. And so that was our plan. Last month at the board meeting, we had some board discussion about possibly heading down the road of looking at a new mission vision for the district, and that seemed to be fairly popular as far as consensus. And so my thought process on that is if we are going to head down a vision mission road, that we bring in KSB to guide that in the fall with their process, so that you have outside brains that are guiding the different groups through that and collecting the data. And then after that mission vision processing is done, which would start in the fall, then the following year that we revamp the strategic plan, because we will want to, I think we're going to put in the cart before the horse if we are going to do that backwards. So that kind of changed my thinking on the current goal. So what would happen there is our current goal, we would take our current strategic plan, we would revise it for 1 more year. In the fall, we would do a vision process, and then leading into next year's strategic plan revision being the one that is based off of accreditation and the outcomes of the vision mission that were at hand. That is where my brain's at. Chad and I have discuss that, and so I wanted to bring that up to the board and see what everybody's thoughts are.
I just have a problem paying KASB $7,500 plus mileage to come and help us out when the dues for KASB are, what, $11,000 a year, so I mean, it's almost like we can't do anything ourselves. We're gonna find this company to do this, we're gonna have this company help us do that, we're gonna help us, this company do that. And I don't know, the board used to be able to come up with our own ideas. And personally, if I was in an audience, I would wanna hear from the local people. I wouldn't wanna hear from someone.
Yeah, they wouldn't be. They would be guiding the process. It would be local people. They're organizing and guiding it. They're not telling you the answers.
That's a lot of money to guide me to do something that,
I love the idea of mission vision, but not at that price.
not when we pay dues to belong to the thing.
Yeah, we're paying dues, we're paying the legal stuff, we're already paying them a lot of money.
We're not forced to do this, was this a recommendation?
Yeah, I just brought it up as an option.
I appreciate you looking at that,
Yep.
I think it's
Yep.
good, I just didn't expect it to be that much.
So,
I have a little sticker shock too.
And what you mentioned the mission statement last
Yeah,
month.
I feel
You
like
just
our
made a-
current mission statement is, honestly, it's a bunch of late 20-teens buzzwords thrown together. It doesn't even mention students.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That was my thing when I was reading. It doesn't even mention students.
And right, and I think it needs to be changed, but I think it would be really cool to be impactful, to involve the students and just our local people, you know? Instead of
Make a
somebody at
mission
KASB telling us what we should do.
I think you're missing the point, but yeah, I have no problem. I mean, I'm not advocating, I'm giving you the information. I think that would be organizing and all that. It would not be.
They would more direct us the way to do it.
Through the process,
right?
yes.
Yeah. And we're looking, it's an overall, it's not just writing down a statement.
They are trained in guiding that process, and so that's what you're paying for.
It's.
They're not giving you the answers for the community.
KSB came and did the one in El Dorado, and
There you go.
huh?
It's pretty fun.
But it's a pretty lengthy process, and I think one of the things that you get when you have somebody that is engaged in that work a long time is that they've heard from constituents, and they know what types of questions they may be asking, and the guiding through that process would be different than having somebody new help guide that, if that makes sense. So I think they have some expertise in guiding folks through the process, which is why El Dorado continues to use them. I mean, they just used them again, because they just redid it again this year. And so they've gone through that process. Because part of that is just kind of like the information that we're getting in all of these surveys, but it's helping synthesize that information, looking at it and hearing from our constituents what they want to see. But again, just like you mentioned, we want to have a good response rate from that so that we're getting all the voices at the table. And students are part of that conversation too. So I've had the experience of having that, and it was a good one. We've also, in my past, done it a different way. Not necessarily a bad experience, but that superintendent had been in that district for a really long time and had gone through the process with that same group, with KASB, to do that before. And then she went to work for them right after that. So anyway, that's my feedback.
Okay, any other questions on that? Okay.
No.
Next up, committee alternatives.
Yes, this agenda item comes from a discussion that the board had last month. I was asked to put this on the agenda. I don't have a lot of information based off of this necessarily. It was a board discussion, and you guys looked at me and said, add it. So it's added. So.
Well, first thing we missed was when we set up the committees was the alternate for negotiations, and we've had that for forever. And so I'm make a motion that Andrea Kreifel, she's already been to the training with us, be the alternate for the negotiation committee.
I have a question. You said we've had an alternate forever.
On There's always
No, we've
been.
never had an alternate, not in my tenure, we haven't had an alternate on
I think,
the-
well, I think the thing is, we've had more people on the negotiations.
Oh, yeah.
We've had 3 people,
Right.
yeah, on all the committees.
Okay, I want,
And so last year we added an extra board member because we took Adam off per state guidelines.
mhm.
And so we added one, but that, we kind of felt maybe that wasn't the best thing to do, because then if you have 3 board members together, they can't communicate with any
I
other board
personally like
members.
3 board members, but I know that's been discussed and that's a gone
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah,
But,
that's,
I would just like to know why, I specifically went to the meeting and talked to Adam and Brandon and said I would like to be on the negotiation team. And after rewatching that meeting, it wasn't even mentioned, it was like, oh, we don't have Pat on the committee. Neither one of you mentioned that Pat would like to
It
still
was
be.
I don't agree with that, actually. I
Well,
remember
okay,
specifically
I went back
saying.
and watched it, so
Okay.
I don't know, I'm just saying, I just feel like I was totally blackballed from that committee.
No, it was mentioned.
So, I mean, I'd been on it, I'd had the training, I had the experience, and
We knew you wanted to be on it, we mentioned it, but no one motioned it, so.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch it, cause I'm not sure that those actions were in that order. Are we gonna consider?
Actions in that order. what
Yeah,
does that mean?
I think that she was called in at the very end and said, oh, we don't have anybody on the calendar committee, so let's have Pat, she doesn't. From my memory, watching the video, I don't recall it being mentioned prior to the negotiations discussion that Pat wanted to be on.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember when it was, I just remember saying.
It was mentioned, but it was
Oh.
after it had already been voted.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I
That's
don't know.
my memory, that's my recollection of it.
that's what, after watching it several times.
Okay, well, if I'm wrong, then I apologize, I just remember saying it. I don't remember what order it was in, so.
Are we gonna consider
Are we gonna have alternates
alternates?
for each one?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I feel like we should have an alternate for each committee if we're gonna.
I don't think we need an alternate for each committee.
no,
I
we
think
do
negotiations
need.
I mean, if we don't, and if we don't need an alternate for negotiations, then we just drop it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice with having 2, if something were to happen and one of us couldn't be there, but I'm gonna try my darndest to be there every time, and I know Bob will too.
I'll be there.
Okay,
In
there
the
you go.
16 years that I was on the board prior to this term, I missed 3 meetings. 2 of them were in June
When was your anniversary?
and one was my anniversary, that's right. And the 2 in June was in the middle of harvest with a thunderstorm in the offing, so I chose to miss and stay and work.
Okay, so we do have a motion on the floor. We need a second to continue that, or it goes away.
I guess second it, we can vote and see.
Okay,
Second.
so we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor for Andrea being an alternate, say aye.
Aye.
You're an aye, yes? Jason?
Correct.
Okay. Anyone opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, first action item, Durham contract options.
Yeah, so last month, the board approved the Durham contract. And one of the things that somehow we got through the meeting and did not mention, where there were some options, that's on us for not mentioning. There were some options within that contract that needed to be discussed. So regardless, the Durham contract has been approved, but there is some proposals within there on page 13 and 14. And Darcy, in discussion and looking at the financing of that, is recommending to approve the alternate proposal within that contract. And so that is up for you to discuss and take action on if you choose to.
So there's 2 main differences between the RFP version and the alternative. And I talked to Heather this week or last week. The one difference is gonna be your fleet age, which is what we currently are. We're an average of 10, but it could be up to 12 years.
Is that why it says not to exceed 12 years
Yes,
on that?
not to, yes, but this one here was 10 years and it was no longer in our fleet, the RFP was. So this would be, the alternative would be an average of 10 years. So there could be some up to 12. And then the other difference is Your RFP version has the activity bus included in the pricing. And then the alternative is a separate line down at the bottom of $20,225 a year. And I kind of did just looking at the regular bus alternatives, not even looking at field trips, because field trips is a lot harder to figure who's going and all that. Over the 5 years, it looks like you'd save about $780,000 going the alternative. It's huge.
That seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, what would be the cons? I mean.
I'm not sure, because we already are the same, we are paying already for the activity bus and we are averaging 10 years. So there is no.
Status quo.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I was a little worried because I didn't think my numbers were right. So I had some people double check it and I think everything looks that you'd be saving about that much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
We need a motion to approve the alternative.
So moved.
I got a motion on the floor. Can I get a second?
Second.
We got a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 23-24 audit.
Yes, you got the amazing annual presentation from Harold last month. Always appreciate him. He's served the district for a lot of years on auditing our finances. And so we've had that for a month now, and so that is up for action this evening.
I thought Harold might be here. I had some questions.
Oh, okay. Well, we can bring him back then. I didn't know that the board was wanting him back a second time.
I just assumed you would because we gave us that information and that was like our first time, and so I needed to process it.
Okay.
So.
Yep, we could bring him back in if you want us to.
Where's he from?
He's in Ottawa.
Could even call in.
Yeah,
That would.
or could you email Evan your questions and you can email us back?
Yeah, we could do that.
Or is it something Darcy might?
I don't know. I got about 9 questions, so it just. I don't know. I
Should we
would. I kind of think this goes in alignment, some of these questions with the bond stuff, just with capital outlay questions. So I would like some transparency around it. That's my only hesitation, like doing it through email, is that maybe not everybody would get to hear the same information that I heard.
Do you want to do it through email and then put it on the agenda for next month to present the answers to the questions?
For Harold to present the answers to
No, for Harold to answer them, get them back to the board,
Sure.
and then have that publicly
that solves
spoken.
it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Will that work for you?
It's fine. Some of them are basic, but I just wanted to ask them before I voted on something.
Is there a timeline on that, Darcy? Is that a?
We already turned in the state stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so.
So it doesn't. So I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it's already been turned in.
We had to turn it into the state by last month, but you guys still have to approve it.
Guys, and the question also, so this is just the audit. Is it questions about the audit, like where the money is going? So is it?
It's just.
I guess.
questions about-
Being new, I'm trying to figure this out. So will that actually change the audit itself, or do you just have questions about those
questions about the
topics?
Yes, yeah, just questions about how the audit was done, like, did we test any ESSER expenditures in our audit, those types of things, did we observe any internal controls related to payroll and timekeeping, how well, just his own opinions on things and how the process was done.
So a couple things we could do. We could send your questions to Harold, get the answers back, and then either present them as an agenda item at the board meeting next month, as far as publicly answering them, or you can bring it up in board comments and announce that. We could do it either way. Either way would get it out to the public.
Yeah,
So.
let's just do it, give them some time and let's put it on next month's agenda since there's no time frame here, right? It's already been submitted. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
Just speaking from my work at the CPA office, audits are prescribed. There are certain steps that the auditor must follow, and they're regulated by the state. So when he has presented us this, if you read the notes to the financial statement, did you read all of them? So they didn't answer your questions?
No.
Because, I mean, it's all prescribed. He has to do certain things a certain way. So I think
And we are audited on federal funds. He picks title, he picks different sections of it and says, hey, here's my sampling, pull it, give it to me.
No, I appreciate that. I just, that's not gonna change my desire to wanna ask the questions, so.
Okay, so will you email Adam and then, okay. So I guess add that to the next month's agenda,
Yep,
Adam, we'll vote down.
I'll add it as a topic and when we meet.
Okay, next up, policy updates.
Yes, the policy committee finished up the last 4 policy updates as far as revisions to recommend to the board. And so those are available in your packet. We are, these are the original December updates. We're now in April, so I put them in action. Not that you have to approve them tonight, but we will be getting updates here pretty quick again. And so if everybody's comfortable with that, it is up for action. And if you have discussion, Andrea and Sarah serve on that committee and support us through that work. And so appreciate them. And so it is up for discussion.
On the fundraising policy, that was new. There's no highlighted or red stuff on that. Is that whole, I can't remember if that whole thing was new. Nothing's highlighted, and nothing's highlighted on my version of the GAE complaints version either.
is it open with?
See that? I think it's all,
We just get typed in and not highlighted.
it's not highlighted yet.
Okay, I guess we'll have to go back and
Okay.
bring it
There
back.
were just a couple things, Andrea and I met a couple of times, and I feel like we made we had a lot of the same viewpoints on things, but there was one topic that we did not come to an agreement to, and one of those was the complaints, form, and that my opinion was that I didn't like there being a 10-day, regulation, like you have to report the complaint within 10 days. I didn't think that was something that was good. I think if there's a complaint, you should be able to report it as soon as possible, even if it's 11 days. And that's the same one as KN. Under that complaints, they have some stipulations on the number of days that you can report complaints. So my opinion was that I wanted that removed, but Andrea wanted to keep it. So if we can come to an agreement on that.
And the reason I wanted to keep it was, you have to draw a line somewhere. This is KSB's recommendation where the line is drawn. You don't want to
And these
complain
came from
coming
our attorneys, correct? They wrote them and reviewed them.
And Adam's thought was, well, we're gonna do good customer service, so if there's a complaint, we're gonna honor it. But my concern with that is if it takes it to the board and the board's like, well, our policy says 10 days, sorry. I just don't wanna come into that situation where we're not honoring those complaints because it passed the 10-day mark, so.
Yeah. The attorney's opinion on that was the board can have expectations of superintendent administration to, to provide good customer service, to take complaints, to do all those things. To not have somebody who has a 30-day complaint come in and say, sorry, I'm not dealing with that. The board has expectations of good customer service within that. But as far as a legal, we have, there's a problem, there's an attorney, we're at court, all that those checkpoints are important to have in there, regardless of how you guys have expectation of customer service. So that was kind of the discussion on that. So, like, I take complaints no matter when they come in and how long ago there were. I will say that the longer it goes, usually the less information is available. Just like the police, things slowly turn into a cold case over time. But it's, you know, we take them all and we try to listen to people and make that happen, so.
Hey, Brandon.
Yep.
So I guess I kind of look at that as just a guideline, just some guidance as far as, you know, hey, we'd like to get the complaint obviously reported and dealt with as quickly as possible. But kind of like Adam was alluding to, obviously, if there's further action that needs to be taken, the board's expectations is that action will be taken regardless of if it's turned in 10 days, 11 days, 15 days, whatever days, we're going to deal with it how it needs to be dealt with.
I agree.
Sometimes you don't find out about something. I mean, it might be 6 months later you find out about something, and so you want to complain. Does that count?
Not
Or
according
is
to
that,
policy.
or is that too far?
How would you know 6 months down the road?
You might not find out about it.
Yeah, you might not know that it
That
was
it
an issue or
happened.
that it was
You
like
know,
went
you might-
against rules or whatever. I don't know, we can't
I know of an
take place
instance
for every
of
variable.
that, where it was months
Well, I don't
before.
think it was, I don't think it was applying to all things. I think it was,
It was complaints about the superintendent and general complaints.
Yeah, that's how I remember it.
complaints about the
So
Because at the
that's just
very-
my thing. If it is a few months down the road and you're like, you know, you find out these things, is that way too late because it's way past 10 days? I mean, I could think of an instance.
I'm going to tell you, it's not in my book. My stance as a board member is I'm going to deal with it regardless of if it's 10 days or 30 days.
Agreed.
If it's something that needs to be dealt with, it's going to get dealt with.
I'm just not finding it, which one it was.
I agree.
Yep, I agree as well.
No?
No, I think,
No, leave it
I mean,
in.
Leave
that's
it
not the
in as a
recommendation.
guideline,
Yeah,
but it'll still be.
that's not the recommendation anyway.
I'm just afraid, I know how we all may operate here and I know how you may operate as superintendent, but that's not what the policy says. And I don't wanna get ourselves stuck in a situation where there would be a board that would be like, oh, well, we don't have to hear it because it's after 10 days and our policy says sorry, you know? So if we're not afraid to do it in real life, we shouldn't be afraid to do it, put it in writing. That's how I feel.
Is it this one? A formal complaint shall be filed within 10 school days of the conclusion of the informal procedure. So it's not like it's an,
Well, it's under the general complaint.
KN.
You know, I know we had complaints last, I mean, it was a topic in negotiations. Does this match that? Because I don't remember.
I've got it somewhere.
Yeah, remember we talked
I
about
don't
it matching.
remember, but I just know we
Oh,
had
how-
complaints.
Oh,
It'll be
grievances,
in here though.
Yeah.
trying to match.
You know what I mean, right?
The other
Yeah.
place that says
Yeah.
10 days is the principal shall investigate the complaint and inform the student of the resolution within 10 days after the complaint is filed.
This one says a complaint shall be in writing, filed as soon as possible after the conduct occurs, but no later than 10 days following the conduct, and shall specify the basis of the complaint.
You're not on KN.
This is the one that I was saying, the GAE, that's for some reason not highlighted.
What appears to have happened on the GAE complaints there is that there was a line in there that they added, they marked off a word. We went through when we talked to the lawyer and they sent us back when we initially told them we wanted to change it to grievance instead of complaint. So when she sent it back to us,
It just had grievances.
it just had the grievances and complaints in red, and the other changes that they made were not in red on that
Yeah,
one.
so this is, it's all, there's no changes and they all say complaints.
So
And it's also, the way she does hers, it comes across in Word. And it's either you accept or you don't accept, and you guys said to just leave it as complaint and not change it to grievance.
Right.
So that would have been the same,
So
the
you're
regular
saying-
policy.
So you're saying
Just wanna make
this
sure.
document that we have in our board packets with no changes to GAE is the original?
That's what I was.
is the
given.
original suggestion that they sent in the December policies. So what they had previously, the complaint shall be in writing, filed within 10 days following the conduct, or following the event complained of. They changed it to, the complaint shall be in writing filed as soon as possible after the conduct occurs, but not later than the 10 days. So they marked out within, and they had that line, as soon as possible after the conduct occurs, but not later than. And then it says 10 days following the event complained of, they had that marked off, and they replaced that with conduct. So what you have here without the red is those two changes, but they're not in red, but that was their original.
And then didn't we say she went back and changed complaint to grievances supposedly per our request, right?
And then when we talked to them again, we told them to change it.
I guess I was just thinking
back
we'd
to
see all those
complaints.
changes on this form.
I'm looking at the negotiated agreement, we added grievances in last year. So
That could be why
are
she
we
changed
looking
it.
at double here? So are we looking at a board policy on grievances?
Yes.
And then we have a
It's different in negotiation.
policy on grievances
Yes.
in the teachers have actually signed. So which trumps which? Cause isn't it, I mean, we're looking at double, I mean, am I,
That's the way I understand it, and that was one of the confusing things that we had, is the question of like, where is this in the hierarchy of like, where does
Right.
this fall, like, and then on this policy, it
'Cause
does
they
say,
signed this
this
one.
superintendent's decision shall be final, and so it doesn't say you gotta go to the board, just throwing that out there. Then it does, the employees covered by the negotiated agreement shall follow procedures outlined in that document.
what is,
In
okay,
that
what-
document.
Employees covered by the negotiated agreement shall follow procedures outlined in that
okay,
document.
so that answers that.
Yeah.
So for anyone covered in
Not covered in
the
negotiated
agreement, this is what we go by, so this is probably more just classified. Do we have anything in
Or
our classified,
administration
should we be
or
looking at our
anything
classified handbook, do we have anything in, sorry to throw a monkey
These are
wrench in all this,
complaints.
but I feel like we might be. They have to jive no matter what we do, but we might have conflicting, right? Sorry.
I'm not remembering being against the 10 days and, being against taking the 10 days out, because in other places in the policy, it says as, how does it say it? As soon as possible within a reasonable timeframe.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's.
They kind of contradicted each other.
So, do we have any questions about any of the other policies?
No, but we had a major change that might impact people. We talked with Holly and we talked about, in the past, you had to have a doctor's note to have cough drops. And so that has now been, if this is approved, that would have been changed, where you just need a parent's note for cough drops.
In the middle school, high school.
Yeah.
Not to carry on their person, but to have available in the office. Yeah, it's not self-administered.
Except for inhalers and.
And epinephrine.
Right, yeah. It's just specific over-the-counter medication would be available with a parental signature instead of a prescription.
The only thing I don't think we included in that was that I don't think we specified where the medication is like being kept. Is they're to have to bring their own? Do we have a stash of it? Like, I don't know that we clearly outlined that.
They have to bring their own for anything, right? I mean,
Well,
that's,
I looked at a couple other schools and they have like, hey, the nurse's office has some generic over the counter, like, you know, if you have a headache and you have to go to the office, they're like, oh, did you bring it? Well, no, but I have Tylenol, you know, so I know that happens in some of the schools and I don't know that we called that out on here. I don't know if we need to, I don't know.
I don't think we need to.
Any other questions on this?
so do we want to, now realizing that really the complaints or grievances only goes back to classified, correct? Possibly admin?
Or admin.
Or admin?
Anybody that's not covered under the
So
negotiation.
do we need to be checking those handbooks? I don't know.
Yes.
It's
Well,
I have a note on here to check
Yeah.
those.
So,
And those haven't even come to you yet, so.
okay, so can I make a motion that we approve all policies except for the complaints policy as written?
Which one?
GAEKN.
All those.
Oh, do I need to list every one of them?
No, I'm just making sure I understand that GAE is the general complaints and then the KN is the, or maybe I'm getting mixed up. Anyway.
I'm only seeing GAE complaints. Oh, then there's the complaint form.
Well, and then there's KN.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So if you're looking.
I was stuck at the one.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the other ones that we would need to approve, if we didn't approve any complaints, would be fundraising and the medication, student administration medication.
I rescind my motion. Sarah, you make the motion with the correct.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the new policies for the DFH policy and the JGFGBA policy.
Came up with that system.
I was thinking the same thing reading them today.
Alright, we have a motion on the floor, can I get a second?
Second.
I got a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All seven, yeah. Okay. Next up, administrative reports.
So, I'm sorry, Adam, are you gonna put that on the agenda to
Yep,
talk
we'll
about
have to,
complaints?
we'll
at
have to
the
bring
next-
those back,
Okay.
yep.
Admin reports.
Yes, we don't have it's spring, so good luck getting them here. It's this time of year with all the activities going on, it gets a little rough to get them here, so. Yep, we got Joel and Chris and Offie, here this evening. I don't know if you guys have anything. Chris, you've already been the star of the show.
I just want to thank Kristen White and our staff for the literacy night. If you attended that, had another good showing this year, and the time that they spent on that. If you haven't been to that, I imagine we'll do it each year, but it's pretty neat.
I went last year.
Last year.
It was a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah. I think Eisenhower had a math night too, is that right?
I think they did.
That is.
I'm just wondering if, like, for the May board meeting, if it'd be possible to, see the, I guess I'm gonna say MAP scores, or not MAP scores, what test you guys just take? Fastbridge, see the,
The window won't be done yet.
oh, well, for
No,
MAPS,
it's-
or for,
Fastbridge doesn't close
Fastbridge.
until,
oh, okay,
that last full week of school.
oh, okay.
So that'll be after your meeting.
So maybe in June, we could see the, like fall, spring, or fall, winter, the progress, if they're, see how we're doing with that. And I'd love to answer in the little sticky note how to do it, but you can do whatever you want.
You can come to my table.
It was so easy, it was really easy, I mean, I understood it, cause I just understood it, but for a layperson, those sticky notes really help just explain it.
Chad did a really good job with his sticky note data wall.
Yeah, exactly.
If anybody needs a tour, we can, go there.
I guess I'll start since I talked.
Go ahead.
I went to the play, Cinderella, it was amazing, like really, really amazing. So that was great, been to lots of sports things, everything's going good. And I had more, but I can't remember, so. We touched on lots of stuff.
Well, I want to say thanks to Chad for what he did with the kindergarten roundup. There was a lot of kids felt pretty big coming home.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
it was a great event.
It
So
was-
staff
it
did
really
incredible.
was.
So it's great.
I got a lot of them. Sorry, guys. Also, Cinderella was amazing. Congratulations to Mr. Fisher and the kids. They did such a great job. Thanks to Mill Creek for donating lumber for the sets. They were pretty amazing. That set building class really did some cool stuff. The supplemental committee met last week. We wanted Ellie to come and present something to you guys, but being that it was just Wednesday, she didn't have enough time. So I'm going to let you guys know that Ellie has been approached by students and parents about possibly adding a bowling team.
We had one years ago.
I mean, I think that's a testament to the great things the guys at the bowling alley are doing. That I mean, it's that popular. They're doing some great things for our community, so thanks to them. So we had asked Ellie to, I mean, obviously it's just a thought now. So we've asked Ellie to get ideas of cost, learn about the season, you know, what all it would take to make this happen for our kids. So we just wanted to bring that up because there wasn't enough time to gather the information and present tonight, but if you guys hear that Ellie's asking around about possible participation, didn't want you to be blindsided of what are they talking about. I reached out to both of our legislators and Representative Riley has agreed to meet with me tomorrow. But a couple weeks ago, I sat down with Senator Alley. Brandon came along, tagged along with me, just so I could talk to him about some of the concerns that I have as a board member, looking at our budget numbers when it comes to especially special education funding. With Gannon in place, we are fully funded on the base, thank you. But we're still falling very short in that special education side. I'm looking at 2023, 2024 numbers, and there has been some money added since then. But in that year, we required about $4 million for our SPED kids, and that's numbers that we provide needs to the state, and they determine what it's gonna take for us to educate them. All of our funding, state, federal, and Medicaid reimbursements came out to $2 million, 2.067 if you wanna get down to it. That left us about 1.36 in the hole. So what that means is we're not actually seeing that money. That's money that is going to the state, the Department of Ed. They are moving around to the buckets for us. So we're not actually moving that money. But that's money that they're taking out of our general fund from Gannon that was meant to be base per student, taking from that and putting it towards special education. So I did the math on that. Per student, that's taking about $900 off of our base per student. If we had that money, we could give our teachers a $9,000 raise. So I just sat down with him and our numbers are very different. These are numbers that I'm getting from the state. He had some numbers showing that schools have a very large surplus come June 1. But in talking to people at the state, talking with Darcy, what's happening is we don't get our funds from the state until October. So we need to make sure that we do have money set aside to pay all of our bills from July 1 to October. So I feel like it's kind of a shell game and a common misconception that we have that money. So that's money that locally we're holding back from the general fund to make sure that we have to pay those bills. Senator Alley was, he recognized that there was a problem there. He thought it was more of a timing issue, and he told me he wanted to go back to Topeka and talk to them about why we can't get some of those funds earlier. And I think that would help in some ways, but we still have a large discrepancy. And so I just want to make everyone aware that I did sit down and talk to him before he went back for the veto session. I also made him aware that this year, teacher professional development has been cut, as well as our teacher mentor program, which we actually had in negotiations last year and went over. It's kind of a wonky way that it's paid anyway. So we're looking at maybe 30-some, maybe 1,000 less in there next year. So those are just some things. I just want everyone to know that I met with him. Thank you, Brandon, for coming with me.
You did all the talking. I was like, this girl knows her stuff.
It's something I'm really passionate about. He told us that we need to expect excellence out of our teachers and out of our kids, out of our schools. I completely agree. But if we're not going to fund excellence, how are we supposed to have excellence if we don't have the money to do it? That being said, I took a budget workshop about a month ago through KASB. It was great to learn how that money gets into each bucket and how KSB determines their disbursements to our district. We did a little bit of that at the conference, but I took the big 3-hour long one. They did say that if any of our districts would be interested in it, that they would gladly come down and do one and teach us where, the breakdown of the formula. And I found it so helpful and I learned so much. I just want to throw that out there. I think it would be great if we invited the public to even really know where that money's going, because I hear a lot of, why aren't we using this money for that? And it's because we literally can't. They tell us what silo that money goes into. I had someone ask me about the bond issue. I'd love to vote for the bond issue, but I think you need to raise teacher salaries, so put teacher salaries in the bond issue. We can't do that. That's just, we're unable to. So I just think that would be a good, I know we're just keep adding town hall meetings, but I think we're talking about transparency. I think that would be something great for everyone to learn.
I agree. I think more information the better.
We could look into that, maybe. Okay, I'm done.
That's it?
That's it, I think.
I really don't have anything. I know middle school track's running, that sound like they're doing pretty well, so.
Good.
Congratulations to the team on that, so.
I know last month we talked briefly, I didn't go back and watch this video, but we talked about the one-way parking lot out of middle school. And what did we decide anything?
What Chief and I talked about. Was some of the issues with the buses is the buses are trying to get out of there. If middle school parents are lined up, or if there's an event going on, or whatever's going on, as far as the curve drive through, then it's really hard for the buses to get out there because they're going to bang into cars and all that. So Chief, last I talked to Chief, he was going to look into a sign that allowed the buses to exit down there legally, but not allow the entire community to do that, so that we don't have wrecks going on. But it did allow for the buses to exit there. So that was the last conversation we've had on that.
So that's something we're actively pursuing to allow buses to go out that way instead of clogging up the other way. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
I don't even think they could make it, right?
I don't
No,
know.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I personally saw a bus get stuck one day and I was like, oh dang.
Yeah, well, I think the buses are kind of already doing it a lot,
Yeah.
just because if not, they're gonna wreck into things. But we need to make some signage so it's
Right, and the situation I personally saw when I was there, she's like, I believe she was a newer person, she hadn't been here, so she's like, I didn't know that I was gonna get stuck here, so
Yeah.
we could communicate that with signs or whatever, that would be great. And then, can we get an update on the wellness committee from March?
We met in March there, and we got the recommendations from the different levels, elementary, middle school, high school, and I have to now plug that into our tool that KSD provides us. And then they take care of that part and they update it for you.
Okay.
It's in the works.
Okay. The last I had seen on our website, our policy was still templated, like it was still like option 1, option 2, we had all the options. So I didn't see where we had chosen one unless the document's outdated. So I just wanted to check in on that, because that might be something that once it's approved, like once they offer the recommendation, I do believe it has to be approved by the board, that policy. And then, do we have any concerns coming up? I know there was some discussion around this coming Friday and next Monday about teachers asking for days off. Are we have any, are we good to go for staffing?
I have not heard that
Okay.
principals cannot get that taken care of. So.
Okay, cool. And then, just a question. I'm not sure why, maybe it's a logistics thing, but why does the board approve employees after they've already started in the district? Is it just like you have to type thing? Or?
No, we just have to get them up and going. I mean, if we had to wait for everybody to do, that would be rough. So It's always been that way. We get them up and going, and then you guys approve them as you go.
Okay,
So-
cause I see these names, I'm like, oh, they're already doing these things, so
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Because if
why.
not, like say we hire somebody tomorrow, they can't work for a month
Right.
now because we have to wait
Yeah.
for a board meeting. So that's always been the way we've done it.
I think that's the right way of doing it.
So
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm for it or against, I was just wondering
Yeah.
why, what.
I think I have had board members in the past that don't even like that on the agenda. They don't think that the hires and all that should be on the agenda. I've had that opinion before.
Legally?
You know, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
Legally,
we
do
don't
we
sit
have
in
to?
for interviews, that's
Yeah.
kind of my opinion, I hate
Yeah.
to say yes or no, but I do like that it gives us something to bring up
Yeah.
if we have concerns, you know,
Right.
so.
Yeah, is Jason still on there?
Yeah, he's still here.
Yeah, I'm still here. It was a burn, madam.
You knew I was going to bring this up. Jason has brought that up many times over the years that he doesn't like that being on the consent agenda.
Yeah, my heartburn on that has always been, just like Sarah just mentioned, I don't sit in on the interviews. I have no way of vetting one candidate versus the other candidate, but yet I'm expected to vote on that candidate. And that just, if I'm not involved in the process, then I don't know that I really should be making the vote. But I think, based on what I researched with Adam, I think by statute, I don't know if that's actually the right word or not, the board has to make that decision, so.
Whether or not we want to be involved in that process? Is that the decision or what decision?
No, according, and again, it may just be policy, so it may be something we can change, but it says that the board will hire and fire.
Which is all delegated. I mean, policy is mainly written as the superintendent does this. It doesn't mean the superintendent actually does every single thing. It's the board. The board's employee is the superintendent, so the superintendent delegates the district to run the way it runs. So, but yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I completely understand what you're saying. I've heard that before, but I don't know of any other process unless we had board meetings weekly that we would, be able to.
Yeah, it's not so much about, like, yeah, you're right, I did bring up that point, but kind of like what I was saying with Jason, like, do we even need to be involved in that process?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. If I'm gonna vote yes or no, I kinda wanna know what I'm voting yes or no on.
Yep.
Instead of just saying yes.
Sure.
And then, last one. So I feel like we talked in the past about the board packet process, and we've done a really good job getting it a little bit earlier with the agenda, but I'm still, like, we had hundreds and hundreds of pages to go through from Friday to today. That's a lot, so I didn't know if we could get a little bit more time. I don't know how that looks, I don't know, I'm not saying I have the answer, I just would like to know if anybody else is feeling that. Not having to go through those hundreds and hundreds of pages over the weekend and feeling prepared to make a good vote on the next day.
This topic's never come up since I've been superintendent. I am running the process the way I inherited it, so it's really.
I think a lot of what we had to go over that I felt was a lot of work was the handbooks, but that's just
a month.
Discussion.
Right, yeah.
So we have time for that. I don't know how we would do it different. I mean, I see what you're saying. I do, because that was a lot.
And some months are
But stuff we don't even have to do
heavy stuff, and it's all at once.
Yeah, the more you back it up, the one negative I can say, the more you back it up, you look at the example of esports tonight, the more you back it up, the more topics come up that you have to amend the agenda. Which is not a negative thing necessarily, it's just how the board wants to operate, so. Yeah, so I can run it however you guys, as a majority want me to run it. This is just the way it's always been run. The only addition that has happened in my superintendency was the addition of the rough draft agenda after the.
And I appreciate that, and I recognize that. The only thing that's missing from that is the links, and the links are where all of the resources are. And so we might be like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about this bond issue, but there's no resources of the hundreds of pages to look at, until the weekend.
We use that week to put the packets together, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes some of those documents aren't even available until we're, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of the week that we're putting it together, so.
I just needed to get that off my chest because it's heavy every time we get a board packet and it's just full. And I want to do a good job. I want to go through the data. I want to process it. And I've said I'm a slow processor, but I'm very thorough. I try to be. And sometimes those limitations are just I can't process it all and come to the table on a Monday feeling like I'm really good about the information that was just presented on Friday. So.
Yep. Okay. Well, I will say one thing we've done forever that helps with that is we try never to throw something in action out of the gate. So that you have that month to get those things. Every once in a while, there's a topic that comes up that's timely that we have to do that. And typically, I will still put that in discussion just out of respect to the board because you haven't seen it before. Most of the time, I do that. But yeah, I understand.
And I think what helps too when you have that before we go to the next month of voting on it, if you have any concerns, we don't postpone another month, is to get your questions to you, and you can get out, some of the answers, just so we're not, especially if we're timely, and we keep pushing because we want to bring it up in front of the board, but if you get the questions to Adam, then Adam can get it out to all of us, so we know, whether that's, if we ever have that issue, but.
Yeah, I don't think you're holding back some amazing secret that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I'm just making it known that if there's consensus with the board that they're also doing that, then maybe we can continue on a different path or go on a different path. But if everybody else is fine with it, I'm just 1 of 7, so I can't make change. So I just wanted to call it out there.
Yeah, that's definitely something I would take board guidance on and do whatever process you choose.
Years ago, like a long time ago, we would get the board packet and it was, in a folder because it was paper. And we asked to have it like on Monday before, a week ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing arose, you get it a week ahead, which is great, but then you just throw some extra things in. So, I mean, it's been an issue since I was a young girl on the board.
Yeah.
I used to say.
Yeah, the exactly what you said. The earlier you do it, the more gets added later on. Whether it's amending the agenda, whether it's documents coming in late, whatever. So I don't know that there's a perfect system, but I understand Sarah's concern. I also get the process. So, but I do think that having the expectation of us to try to put something out there, and then you have the month to look at it instead of just that weekend. So I think we try to do that best we can.
I think you do as well. Yeah. And then on that same kind of topic, as far how do we decide who is just a speaker, who gets those 3 minutes versus who's an agenda item?
Well, we need to change that form because the form, Russ and I just talked about this. Essentially, there is a form for a patron to fill out. And then if, essentially it comes down to Brandon and I, essentially. We've always invited the vice president to the meeting, but I think board policy says that the superintendent and the board president are the two that make the agenda. And so, it just the way it is. So we just decide. And then if they fill out and they want to speak to the board directly, then we will allow that we'll put it on the patron request form. So
the same paper would be filled out by both
typically if it's an agenda item, it comes up as a topic that needs board discussion that Brandon and I would put on the agenda. If it is someone that just wants to address the board and give their opinion, then that would go on patrons and staff.
Okay. A one-way conversation versus a two-way, essentially.
I guess, yeah, basically.
Okay. That's all I got. Thank you.
Yep.
Elementary track. I'm always impressed with how smoothly that flows. So I just want to shout out elementary schools for pulling that off. Middle school girls golf, I thought was doing a fantastic job. I think someone got a green jacket.
Okay, that was so cute.
They had a 3-way tie for first, and they were all Wellington girls.
Yeah, that's
they
awesome.
had to have a chip off. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
I thought the district handled and did very well with the lockdown, so I appreciate that, and the communication on that was fantastic.
Thank you.
And then
those are stressful.
We've had a couple of community donations to our locker rooms, and I know nobody wanted to necessarily be recognized publicly, but I do want to thank them for that, and they know who they are.
Yep.
And then kindergarten roundup, it's just awesome. It was awesome.
It was.
I saw the pictures on Facebook and I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool, like the big pencil and like the
And here's the
background.
thing, Shin, like, she goes, after the thing, and I got a picture today from Peggy that Ann Biles sent me, but, she was like, can I have that pencil, please? She was literally using it at school today.
Oh, God, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pat and I might be thinking the same thing.
Well, I have two things now, sorry. About the donations, I talked to, the first one that we got and asked if, it was just so awesome if we could, you know, publish that. And so, I had permission to give it to the news so that, you know, they would know that.
From the class?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she said that it was fine, she just didn't want, just her and her husband were from the same class, and they just didn't want any attention. So, I haven't done it yet, but
Yeah.
I have that ready,
Oh, good,
if
good.
that's okay.
Yep.
I mean, so, and then, I just want to tell you, Debbie Potter,
Yes?
I read this article on this news app that I have.
Uh-oh.
No, you were.
Uh-oh. Now I'm
You-
scared.
That's why I wasn't playing on my phone, I was trying to find that same article. I read this last week and, oh my gosh, you are just so right what I'm thinking all the time.
Thank you. I'm sorry, it was a stressful week for me last week, so you
Oh,
guys are.
gosh, darn it, there's just so much, I'm sorry.
Was it the testing? Like-
Yeah, it's just like, you know, we don't all need calculus, trig, and all that kind of stuff, you know. Let's get back to the basics. Some kids need all that in high school. But for me, I would be much farther ahead if I was able to take that refereeing class or whatever it's called, you know, because that's gonna help me. I couldn't do those classes. I couldn't do chemistry. I couldn't do all those. And I had some one time tell my daughter, because I wanted her to drop chemistry before school started, because there's no way she can do chemistry. And they're like, this vice principal who we became good friends with, but he's like, well, what are your goals in life? And she said, where are you gonna go? She said, I'm going to KU next year. And this principal said, I think you really need to rethink that because you're never gonna make it at KU. And I'm like, I'm a pretty productive adult and I never took any of those classes. But this whole article, you know, the State Board of Education wants to get back to just core and not, and I know you get scholarships and all these things if you're a Kansas honor student and the Regents Board of, you know, Regents person, but not everybody's gonna be that. And I feel like we push kids to that level who aren't. It's just not necessary. But I'll send this to you. It's just.
I never read the newspaper, so I don't know.
Well, I just had this, it's called Newsbreak. It's just an app and.
I was on Newsbreak?
I get all kinds of local stuff and I mean, I just, all kinds of, I'm like a news freak. But it's just great. Then I read, that's who this is. Oh my gosh. I have to talk again. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Can I bring up, Andrea bringing up the lockdown situation? I don't think it needs to be a policy, maybe an understanding per se, I don't know. I feel like we need to address when there is something like that. We have the cell phone policy, and we made the cell phone policy so that when learning's going on, the phones are away, but the phones would still be in the room in case there's an emergency. In my case, my kid texts me immediately, we're in lockdown, we're okay, this is the room I'm in. Told me her friend doesn't have a cell phone, let his mom know that we're okay, because they knew it was gonna be coming out soon, and that I would panic. But then, and so then, of course, I got the onslaught of other parents texting me going, what do you know, because their kids just like lockdown, you know, because kids. But then I had other parents that are reaching out to me going, my kid was in a lockdown and I had no idea what was going on because their teachers still went strictly by the cell phone policy and was like, nope, you're fine, so you're learning. So I just feel like we need like an across the board maybe understanding of what we're gonna do in that situation, right?
Yep.
Just so you don't have half the town panicked.
I agree.
And the other, oh, they're okay. I mean, I really appreciate, I know that my kid's first hour teacher is so strict with the cell phone policy, he puts his cell phone in there. But he also, being a dad, knew, okay, this is gonna go out and your parents are gonna freak out, just send him a text and tell him you're okay. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I just, if we could like I said, I don't think it has to be part of the policy, just if there could be a blanket understanding of what to do.
There was a big spectrum. There was like, you're not getting your phone because we have a policy, and then there was the other people like, text your parents.
Yeah.
Like in the same building, and it's like.
Yeah, so if we could just come up with some kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, I wrote that
And
down.
I
We're
wanna
all on the
recognize,
same
I
page.
know it's stressful for the teachers too, I mean, they
Oh,
could, they're,
yeah.
like, their life's on the line too, like, oh, so maybe they're not thinking clearly, you know, so. I recognize it's a very stressful situation, for everybody.
Well, and I appreciate my staff during those times, cause you guys know how I normally come across pretty calm, and, I had to apologize to Russ after this last one, cause I was barking orders pretty fast and furious.
And I do wanna call out, like, I know we've all, well, I'll speak for myself, I've been a little rough on the communication. And I do feel like this time was better with our information. We didn't have all the answers, but that was okay. We didn't need them right now. We just needed those touch points of like, hey, we're here, we know what's happening, everybody's fine. So even though you couldn't give us all the details, it was just so refreshing as a parent who was just like, tell me everything you can. If it's not a lot, it's fine, but just make contact with me. So I really appreciate that. I know other parents did too.
Yeah, I usually in those moments have about 40 people trying to reach me at the same time to give me information. So I'm talking to the police, and I'm talking to this, and I'm talking to, and then I'm yelling at Russ, and then, you know, all this stuff. So,
That's
yeah,
why we need
try
that
to
complaint
work
policy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
You guys didn't approve it. You guys didn't approve it, so I'm not working.
I got thick
You better keep that in there, Russ.
Or anything else? Jason,
Oh, yeah.
board member comment?
I think everything's pretty well been covered.
All right. We'll move on to the executive session, for student matters. It'll include Chad, Adam, and Brian Oppengarden for 10 minutes. The meeting will resume at 8:30.
So moved.
Got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Somebody bring
Opposed, same.
I'll grab Jason.
Are you leaving in there?
Yeah, you're live now.
Okay.
I might.
We are back.
I tried.
No action was taken. We need to go into executive session for non-elected personnel to include Adam and Chad for 15 minutes. We'll resume at 8:45.
So moved.
Got a motion? Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You back
I
live,
did,
right?
Okay.
I did.
We're back from
Thank
executive
you.
session, no
I only
action was
remember saying
taken.
half of what I said there,
We need
but
to
I
go
don't
back
disagree
into
with that.
executive session for non-elected personnel for 5 minutes, if we're Adam and Chad. We'll resume at 8:50.
So moved.
Got a motion to get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say.
Why don't you take this to Bob?
I'm getting-
Andre, the motion?
No, just the motion. and
Jess
Andre
and then
second.
Andre. Okay, you're back.
We are back, no action was taken. We are gonna go back into executive session for negotiations for 10 minutes, include Adam, Chad, and Darcy. We'll resume at 9 o'clock. Need a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say.
How come when Tom used to make the motions, I mean, it was like really tense, he had to say them just
bird and turtle, whatever. And they were in a competition and Fox, was very crafty. At the very end, it said Fox was very crafty and he makes Turtle win. Turtle, it looked like he was gonna be the loser. They're gonna dismiss again, I'll finish.
Back yet, Russ?
We are back.
Alright. We are back in executive session, no action was taken. Next up, the consent agenda.
Okay, consent agenda. Approve the minutes of the March 4th special meeting and the March 10th meeting. Approve payroll and bills. Payroll, $1,187,132.99. Bills, $519,963.96. Transfers, at risk, $100,000. Personnel, approved new hires. Brett Clark, assistant golf coach at middle school. Lacey Hibbs, assistant softball coach at the high school. Mariah Langford, assistant softball coach at the high school. Virgil Angleton, assistant boys golf coach at the high school. Mariah Delgado, assistant track coach at the high school. Riley Corson, social worker at Lincoln. Robert Brungart, principal at the high school. Christy Brungart, art teacher at the high school. Trevor Warnock, assistant baseball coach, high school. And Amanda Yeager, instructional support strategist for the district. Approve resignations. CJ Carey, assistant football coach, high school. Deb Starkey, library aide, Kennedy. Roxy Nance, secretary at the high school. Cassandra Heinerman, school nurse for the district. Mariah Delgado, girls physical education at the high school. Ryan Swigert, high incidence sped teacher, Washington. Kathy Gann, math teacher at the high school. Matt Lira, para at the middle school. Ryan Sturm, Title I aide, Washington. Mandy Ramos, volleyball head coach, high school. Amelia Bristow, Stuco representative, high school. And Nate Cornejo, assistant baseball coach, high school.
Can I get a motion to approve? the consent
So
agenda?
moved.
Got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Got a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed, same sign? Alright, that concludes the meeting, this meeting is adjourned. Thank everyone for coming.
Yep.
Thanks, Jason.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
He needs her.
Yeah.
It was quiet, look at John.
Adam,
Yes, ma'am.
can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Right here.
Oh.
Just because I don't want to make rules of 4 people and more people.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh.